it is hurtful out there. So I guess what I want to get to today is if we could just kind of ask ourselves the old question, is what I'm about to say going to help or hinder? Is what I'm about to do going to help or hinder? And present company included, I will be taking a look at that as well. But I am a tough person and very sensitive, but I also see what's happening in our world. And if Facebook is a medium to get the word out there, then I'm going to find a way to be able to share, be able to say what's on my mind. But you won't find me attacking you. You won't find that. You know, what's devastating about the whole thing is that we are out there arguing and pitting against, most of the time when people say things that I don't like on my feeds, I just delete the comment. I don't even want to get into it. Especially if they call me a name or challenge my integrity. I'll just delete their comment because, again, it goes back to what I grew up with and how I raised my kids. It's their misery. They must be one miserable person to say something like that to me. So, and I'm a target. You set yourself up to be a target. So I control that. And I try to protect. But, we are kind of, not only taking advantage of what's going on out there, we're also taking advantage of ourselves. And I think if we all just kind of take a look in the mirror and say, are you doing what's best for you? Are you doing what's best, for others? So, in thinking about all this, years ago I wrote a book. It's called Conversations in Writing, and it's just several, thoughts and poems and things that I had written over the year. But I realized that, I mentioned about my brothers and, sure would have liked to had one more phone call. I sure would have liked to had one more I love you. Be able to see him one more time. My sister-in-law would love to see her giggle, another time. Because we don't know in a day. We wake up in the morning, we hope to be able to see the evening. We don't know what's going to happen. And life really is that way. And we take it all for granted. And I can see that's happening. We become so saturated with information and all of these different kinds of aspects and videos. I guess we become conditioned or a calloused society. But all I have to do is think of my mom. And I lived in Chicago, and she was in the hospital. She had been sick, and my daughters, we had been very sick. So I wasn't able to come home and see her in the hospital. But what we were going to do as a family is, I was married at the time, we were going to come home and see her on a Wednesday. And my husband at the time, my ex-husband, he was going to take off, like the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so we could do the weekend thing. And unfortunately, the last time I spoke to her was on Saturday on the phone, and unfortunately she passed away that night/Sunday morning. Now, the good thing about it is we had a good conversation on the phone that night, and I was very grateful to do that. But, I didn't get to see her again, and she was supposed to be coming home, going to be okay, and it just didn't happen. So I've I think about, oh, if I just had done this, or I wish I would have said that, or the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, which can kill you. Inside, even if not, humanly, and your body is removed from the earth, you can die inside from shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And so I'm trying to kind of live my life in that I don't have those regrets. And I was thinking about this, and as I'd mentioned, kind of switched gears. And I thought about something I had written, and it was... When did I write this one? This was, I believe, in 2000. I had written this. My mother passed away in 1997. So it kind of, stirred up. My dad died, in the morning. When I was 21, I still lived at home at the time. And so you just never know. So I think we need to be a little bit kinder and a little bit more respectful of one another and our hearts. And, we got a lot going on, a lot of opinions, a lot of fight going on out there to be strong, but we have to be a little bit better. Got to do a little bit better. And so I would like to share with you this that I wrote. It is, again, from the book Conversations in Writing, and it's called, I Don't Ever Want You to Be Sorry. I don't ever want you to be sorry for the hug you didn't give, the I love you, have a good day exit, words you didn't share, for grudging the person leaving you, no matter how mad, really does care. I don't ever want you to feel sorrow when you were so mad at goodbye, you don't give a proper farewell. I don't ever want your heart saddened by your foolish pride, that left without love when you said goodnight, boarded the bus, in God we trust. I don't want to be the burden for your heavy heart when you could have hugged or kissed when our two lives were to part. A simple good night, I love you, will always do the trick, for when someone leaves you and moves on to heaven from earth, believe me, if it wasn't a proper goodbye, you will feel heartsick. So when we fight or disagree, don't forget to say goodbye to me, because fate has a funny way of changing things, the blessings in disguise. Tests that only God brings. So please give me a hug, say you love me, don't take advantage of God's power and his control of our lives. Say goodbye to your husband, say goodnight to your wife, love your daughters, sisters, sons, and brothers too, for you never know when they will be taken from you. Thank you, God and Jesus, for this lesson brought to me to maybe help my broken family. We love each other so dear, but I have to be honest and tell you, I fear we are breaking the greatest rule, that is to say, taking advantage of life and days granted only by you. How I wish it could all be different and that I didn't feel this way. I was living in Chicago at the time, seems like yesterday to me. I was coming to see her on a Wednesday. She and you decided it was her time to leave on Sunday's Eve. I woke to a call from my sister to give me the news that Mom had moved on to come and see you. It was early April 1997, our last conversation, my mother and I, our commitment to share a view of the moon, its view. That at any moment we could look and see the same view, the moon, the sky, connecting her and me. That April moon, how lucky was I? For without that conversation, well, still often I cry. Early November 1981, my father, we watched a movie. Laughter and silliness between us like friends. Then, in the middle of the night, I saw him by the kitchen light, drinking a liquid to keep his upset. A heart attack he was having, we didn't know yet. I woke to the wails of my mother so dear. She screamed and yelled, "Dear God, get the ambulance here." I rushed to the phone. This is so horrible to remember. When they got there, they told us they were just too late. Did we know CPR? Did we try it ourselves? My mother and I took a glance at each other. They certainly could tell by our eyes. We didn't know. It caught us so by surprise. I write these closing and parting words. You simply never know what will come your way as far as life and the taking of precious ones in a day. So this is why it is all so black and white for me. If you don't feel the same, I feel you are lucky. Although I must advise, prepare for the day when fate's test decides. Each parting, please close, say goodbye and I love you to those, and share a gentle touch with those who mean so much. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I ever read that without just absolutely crying my eyes out. But I think it's because I want that message to hopefully touch one heart and make a difference. So as I close today's show, just give it some thought. Your heart, your body, your feet, your hands, take good care of them. They always say we only get one liver, a couple kidneys, one heart. We only have one body, just one. And if we can figure out a way to nurture and care for ourselves, maybe that will be able to move on from our world, our temple, and we'll be able to make a difference and certainly give it a go on helping one another. But it, as corny as it is, it really does all start with, me, myself, and I. I'm not perfect. I've got a lot of mistakes going on that I am trying to master, cleaning up and making things better or right. And I can only pray. I pray and through action, I can give it a go and try and make things better. But, if you, let me put it this way. If you are doing something in a positive direction, like even tiny, to do something for yourself or someone else, your life will change. And, there's people out there that might say something like, I'm fine. I got this. What is she talking about? But there are those that really are hurting. And if you're fine and you really got this, then be careful of what your actions are and maybe do something to help someone else. It's a very, there's been, we're in a living hell. And, there's different pockets where, we've got heaven on earth and different blessings and happiness throughout the day. But, really, this isn't the end. This is the stepping stone to get us to heaven. Or wherever you believe you go on from here. If you think that's it, and you're either cremated or put in the ground, and that's it of your spirit, and you don't believe in God, and you don't believe in there here ever after, that's one thing. But I believe that's, in my opinion, a very sad way to live your life. Because you're just so amazing. How could you think that the day that you die, that's it? It blows my mind. I respect it because it's your thoughts, but it blows my mind that that's it. That your spirit and your legacy and your history can't move on and help others even after you're gone. I know that while I cannot hug my mom, smell her cologne, see her beautiful hair, listen to my dad's jokes, sit across the table from